Oh my goodness, we're here. Oh, I didn't expect that to happen so quickly. It snuck up on me.
So I wonder, are we automatically on mute when you start that song, or if we just like happen to not say anything while the music was going?
I don't know, because it says we're on mute, but then it doesn't show my button to be muted, so I have no idea. So we should test that, and then that means that one of us would have to listen to one of our streams, which I don't think we have ever done, right?
Yeah, who'd want to do that, man?
No.
I want to welcome Carol the Atheist. She is first in the side chat.
And she hit the like. How about that, Carol the Atheist? That's pretty good. Anyway, so I had jarred to describe what we were going to talk about, but I corrected the spelling on that. But anyway, one thing we could talk about is this guy, this person, the Afro Atheist. So James was on that yesterday, right?
Oh, James, he's getting around the internet.
He's getting around.
Yeah.
Pretty soon he's going to have a magnet fishing video.
Yeah, there you go. It was called Debunking a Debunker. Is Daddy Freeze a gift to the Nigerian Christians? So what did you guys decide?
So basically, it was just this guy in Nigeria that rose to some degree of influence in the Christian community, and he built his platform on exposing the grifters and all these progressive values, right? And then he realized that people weren't sending them the kind of money he wanted, right? He thought that if you tell people, give freely of your heart, there's no pressure, that they would just do so and he'd get all kinds of money. It didn't work that way because he's preaching mostly to poor people that have been soaked dry by the grifters. So he got angry at them, and then he became the grifters that he was railing against. But he's still pretending not to be one of the grifters who's still angry at the grifters, but he spends an awful lot of time saying abusive, horrible things to his own fan base and telling them that they deserve to be abused and that they're horrible, stupid people. And he drops the F-bomb, and and then he switches back like some weird multiple personality disorder thing to saying like really pleasant things about his fan base, letting them know he's there for them and he loves them and respects them and all this other shit. It's just like this domestic abusive crazy guy, except the domestic abusive relationship he's in is everybody that follows him. It just is what it is. I mean, it's not new, right? We see that all the time. So
yeah. So Brian Stevens is here, Maya is here, and that's good because I'm going to talk about more brain stuff, and Maya can disagree with me. Casey A. Randy, Ricky Johnson, and who else we got? I'm not sure. I'm trying to be better with that, but that's only going to allow me. Nitty's here?
Yeah, Nitty. That's awesome.
Nitty popped in and said, huh?
I almost want to throw a link out. But, we talk about various things. So we can throw a link out.
I can do it. I can copy and paste it, and then throw it out in the side chat. You want to do that?
Throw it on the side chat. We just won't pin it so that we don't get, and they may only let a few people in. So,
okay.
I reserve the right to let less people in because I think anything over 4 is already pushing it. But we got this thing here called the default mode network that we were talking about the other day. And I have a friend who's she's going to she just got accepted in New York for a PhD program, but she's working in neuropsychology. She's getting her PhD in neuropsychology, and she was talking a little bit with my son about what psilocybin does. And she said that it shuts down the part of your prefrontal cortex that is involved in having beliefs about things. And now back in the 70s, my theory about psychedelics was that it shut down the part of your brain that gave you overly processed sensory images so that you thought what you were looking at like was a flat table, right? Like if you took a high dose of LSD and you looked at a table, it would not be flat. And what I think is happening is that you are actually getting raw, unprocessed sensory input. And it somehow shut down the network that processed that input and told you, oh, that's a table and it's flat. And that's a table and it's flat would be a belief. So if somebody asks you about that, well, do you think we came from monkeys? No, you just automatically go to this default mode network where this fabric of beliefs that you built up over the course of your lifetime have turned into knee-jerk habits rather than like there's a lot of things that we believe and that we are afraid of or whatever, and we don't know why. We just automatically react to it. And if you press us, we could dig around in our huge memory bank and come up with reasons why we think we believe in this, but those reasons why we think we believe in it may not be the actual reasons that they ended up in our default mode network. And that's why it's important every now and then to take something you believe in and say, well, what if that isn't true? And why do I believe it is true? And to pull it out, put it on the table. And then you're doing some focused thinking. And when you're doing that focused thinking, what you're doing is you're slowly eroding that default network. You're changing the fabric because now you're putting the beliefs back into it with a bit of reprocessing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool, right? That'd be kind of a cool thing to do. Should we become able to do that?
Maya, if you're out there and you can hear us and you disagree with Speed, just write bullshit in the side chat.
No.
Just to let us know points of disagreement to start something,
They should just install a bullshit button, because who wants to have to type that out like every other minute? Like, just hit the button. Bullshit.
So that was my theory, like back in the 70s, before I didn't even know how memory worked or anything worked in the brain at all. And I don't have, and now some of the new research is integrating into my belief about what psychedelics do and how they do it. But it's just a belief, and it's part of my network, and I have no idea. Oh, Maya likes that bullshit button.
Yeah, that's awesome. Who wouldn't?
Well, instead of just having a thumbs up and thumbs down, like, they should have bullshit, and they should have fucking bullshit and like horrendous bullshit, and then they should have like damn it, I hate you.
Yeah,
I mean, we should have a rich array of responses that
you ruined my life button.
I think I just got dumber from reading this button.
So anyway, what happens on a really high dose of psilocybin is you get this absolute flood of sensory input and memories and everything from you're getting it from all ends. You're getting it from your episodic memories across all of your life, and you're getting all this input from your environment, and you're getting it all at once. And it happens like it feels like. It feels like you're being bombarded with like a lot of information all at once, just like within a half an hour. Recently, in a half an hour, I went through 1975. And it was an amazingly enlightening, because I did manage to remember some of it, not much of it, because there's so much of it. But I remembered, I got a sense of what I was feeling back then and what I was doing and where I was.
Yeah, I'm glad, because, when I was in 1975, it took a long time.
Yeah.
That was a long
I'm going to make a correction on the Rodney story, the one where the guy threw him through the door. The reason he threw him through the door is that Rodney had busted the window out of the door with his fist, because he got drunk and for no reason at all decided to smash a window, which he did very frequently, all the time. You couldn't have a window around that man. He would, at some point, he would get angry and put his fist through it. And then the guy threw him through the door and threw his wheelchair out after him. And then I went out and tried to help Rodney, and Rodney tried to kill me. And so I left. And that was when I was sober and I was living down in Minneapolis, and me and my second wife, we decided to go to one of the parties to see our old friends. We went up north, and that was the last party we ever went to up there. It was like, okay, this is fucking crazy. This is just horrible.
Yeah, they outlawed parties in 1976, so that's why they don't have any.
Anyway, I misrepresented the story, and I dug around and found the facts for you. So there's the facts, the fucking facts. So anyway, okay. The default mode network, also known as default network, default state network, medial frontal parietal network. It's kind of like at the front of your brain. Part of it is at the front of your brain. If you were to slice your brain right down the middle where your nose is, and that's where you would end up with it. And then there's a couple other pieces of the brain that pop up. It's what the brain does when it's at wakeful rest, such as daydreaming, mind wandering, or just basically walking around the room and even having conversations. I think your default mode network is the thing that's providing you with the opinions that we have. Like, I have an opinion on that. And it's like, oh, where did that opinion come from? When did you form that opinion? What went into that opinion? None of that stuff is going to be present in your mind. You're going to be at this, this background fabric of who you are. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see. Not focused on the outside world, and the brain is at wakeful rest. I sort of disagree with them on that. I think when we're like sort of daydreaming, or we're kind of like a little bit closed off and we're walking through the outside world, I think we're processing the outside world with our default network, but we're doing it in a very boring way. So you could walk through, miss something totally beautiful and astounding, like a sunset or something like that, because you're just sort of running this program. So.
Yeah, that's not my fault, though. I mean, if the sunset wore a mini skirt or some yoga pants, I mean, there wouldn't be a problem.
Yoga Pants Sunset.
Yeah.
That's really a good band name. Right. Yoga Pants Sunset. Let's see. Anyway, the default mode network has become popular since around the year 2000. And I think there were just a flood of papers on it in about 2007, something like that. Hans Berger, the inventor of the electroencephalogram. Anyway, they go through a bunch of history on it. And let's see, it started, so they basically, 1929 is when they noticed the oscillations, but it wasn't until the 90s. And let's see, default, Reichel coined the term default mode in 2001 to describe the resting state brain function. Until the mid-2000s, researchers labeled the default mode network as a task-negative network because it was deactivated when participants had to perform goal-directed tasks, that sort of thing. And why is oh my goodness. So, I don't have Chrome All on. Now I have Chrome All on. You see these wonderful little diagrams, that show the default mode network at different ages and all that stuff. But anyway, so the reason I was talking about that is, I noticed my community, my friends, all of us, right? We go on a stream oftentimes, and sometimes you guys sound so sad. Like, you're like, that feeling that you're not being heard, James, and this feeling that I want to connect with somebody, and then we'll pop around and we'll see if we can drop into somebody else's stream, and we have this feeling, these sort of, like, it seems to be this sadness. I know what it is. It's fucking winter.
I mean, that could be part of it.
It could be part of it. But there's sort of, oh my God, Carol the atheist agrees with me, but Maya hasn't weighed in yet. Anyway.
Look for that bullshit.
So, but I mean, there's this, and what I've noticed in the last years that I've solved a hell of a lot of problems in my life since I sobered up 16 years ago. But I have, like, my brain, sometimes I just want it to go away. It's sitting there saying, you're depressed, you're uncomfortable, you're fidgety, and I'll start squirming around in my chair, or I'll start looking around for a donut, or it's like something's not right. And there's this constant feeling of something's not right. And I don't want to think about me at all, or my brain. I want to be overly concerned with what I am looking at. Like if I'm watching a series, then I want to totally be immersed in the series, even if it ain't that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like when you read the Bible.
Oh.
No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
I think I threw up a little bit. Yes, I'm obsessed with Maya because she disagrees with everything I say. God damn it, she's the only one.
Hey, at least she's consistent.
I told her to make sure and redecorate while she's in your head, taking up rent-free space.
Yeah. So is that what I'm sensing in the community, is seasonal affective disorder? I mean, all y'all are just wandering around looking for love. Somebody give me a fucking hug, please. And then we go on to a stream and we get overtalked and we get pissed off. And people disagree.
Looking putting up in all the wrong places.
Yeah. I don't know. So you're
Melody Joy.
Melody Joy is lurking with us. Thank you, Melody Joy. It's always great to have you lurking.
And Captive Desk is not lurking, participating. Oh, anyway, I don't know. Those are the things I kind of want to talk about. Can you relate to that? That sometimes your brain is just a motherfucker and it won't let you feel okay.
Oh yeah, yeah,
definitely.
Why do brains do that?
Because they suck.
What good are they? I mean, what the hell?
All right.
Gurr says hi.
Hey, Gurr. I saw that you had a stream last night, but I was in another place and I couldn't watch. So I probably should go watch. So anyway, and James, you had a thing yesterday about basically you're going to change the nature of your channel and you don't want us to use your name anymore in the titles when you do come on for apologetics. And
yeah,
tell us all about this.
Oh, well, I mean, consequences, my friend, consequences. Moving forward, I'm going to be venturing out into the world, or I'll be buying and selling and working with people whom don't particularly like outspoken atheists. And the last thing I need is for them to pull up some of my rants and decide that, he's one of those guys. And then the deal falls through. I just don't need it. It's happened so many times. Even in my personal life recently, I've had some people that I've been very close to for a long time tell me that they just can't follow me anymore anywhere because they think I'm just an angry person who's, basically like full of hate and disrespect for other people's religion, and they just can't like deal with that shit. And I'm like, wow, I'm practically Bob Ross over here talking about stuff, and it just doesn't matter to them. They're just, and I'm just, I don't know. It makes me anxious anyway to talk too much about counter apologetics. I watch too much of it, right? If you go into a stream and there's people arguing and debating, it's just ego. It's usually dudes, right, with huge egos, and they get angry and they take things personal and they yell and talk over each other. So I jump back out of that, and then I go and watch some Christian apologist channels where it's just them, and they just bold-faced lie and gaslight the whole damn time and pretend not to know things they know, and then, and somebody's gonna grab it, right? Apologia, somebody else is gonna handle it better than I could have, anyways.
Yeah.
What's it going to be worth? Because the community is going to be like, yeah, Paula G is right, but their community is going to be like, who the hell cares? Praise Jesus, right? So it just seems like all such a waste to me lately.
Well,
It's just
Yeah. I don't spend much time listening to apologists at all, and unless the topic is really interesting, I'm not even going to listen to the counter apologetic stuff. Mostly, I know when Paula G has a scholar on, or of course, if something interesting is going on Myth Vision, I'll watch it, not because of the counter apologetics, but because he usually brings a pretty good critical scholar on to talk about it.
Before I want to say one more thing before I acknowledge Dave in our room, and that's that when I was growing up, it's almost like religion was a protected class, that you could not talk to religious people about religion. You could not question them. You could not ask them about the religion. And it was like, I kind of have the feeling that some people are offended. Oh, Amy Newman's here. Some people are offended of us talking about the religion because they can't fucking defend that anymore than I could defend Santa Claus existing.
Right.
And so it's like they've got this like supernatural belief in something that never shows up in any of our lives. All we see is naturalism. And then, but no, this thing really exists, and if you question it, then you're harming me in some way. You're basically persecuting me, and yet they'll go on and persecute the hell out of atheists on YouTube, and well, they open themselves up when they do that. And I think that's kind of what the atheists on YouTube are reacting to, is it's just blatant, yelling about religion and nobody ever questioning it. And it's like, hell, guys, let's question this shit. So,
yeah, it's using their privilege to try to shout down the people that are in the minority, who because fewer people are atheists than are religious, and
right.
Oh, Amy Newman, did you talk to biblically? What's your response? Did you talk to that guy? Biblically, what's your response? That guy? You remember him, Scott? We had him on.
I remember him. Yeah, I can't remember the
blah, blah,
username.
blah. What's your response?
I
You
don't
know this
that.
guy? Oh, he's maddening. He's just, and he's got like this tone where he reads it out, and it makes no sense at all, and I lose patience with him very quickly. What's your response? It's like, and then you give him a response, and then he goes off on a totally different tangent, biblically, something blah 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 else. And what's your response? Anyway, hey Dave.
Hey everybody.
Hey Dave.
Yeah, James. I just wanted to say I feel your frustration, and like I try to tell people, that's why when I do my YouTube channel, that I do it totally different than all the stuff that's going on in my head, because the frustration and the stupid questions and the bad arguments, and I'm just tired of hearing it, and I'm tired of answering it. Now I know Amy and all the rest of them, T-Jump and all that, and everybody does their thing, and they can do that thing, and they can address these people, and that's all good. But it's like, I'm just tired of it.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting out my point of view, my questions, and I'm just leaving it at that. And that anybody wants to say anything to me, it's like, hey, you can defer either to the experts or to one of my videos, because I'm just, it does get old, and it wanes on you. So, I understand. And James is a nice guy. He tries to be nice to people. He's got a nice demeanor, nice voice and everything. And people giving him a hard time is just out of line too. So,
well, I appreciate you saying that. And I think what gets me more are the people that know me personally and aren't Christians. They're not really even religious. And they have that taboo, right? This idea in society where if you even question or challenge or criticize religions, popular religions, then somehow you're just a dog shit person.
Mhm.
right? And it's like, but they get to say and do whatever they want with impunity, right? Their whole religion, for Christianity, for example, is based on certain ideas, like everybody who isn't one of them deserves to die. Everybody who isn't one of them doesn't deserve respect, doesn't deserve to keep on existing, right? Isn't a valid human being. And I'm like, they get to be part of that religion where that's core to their tenets, and you don't bat an eye, right? And so they're taking this position about everybody in the world who isn't in their cult, and that's fine. But somebody starts a channel where they politely talk about the problems that causes, and that person's the problem, right? That person's the person that doesn't show proper respect for other human beings. And I'm like, I just don't get it.
Yeah,
So
they
I've got
treat
this
you.
invest
Go ahead.
6-year relationship with a good friend of mine in Canada, and technically we're still friends. But she has decided that I'm a hateful, angry, divisive, disrespectful person with horrible values. But she still values the fact that I made investments and that I give her good life advice and that I'm nice to her. And so she'll still talk to me. And I'm like, well, thanks. Like, I guess that's my Christmas present this year. You're still going to talk to me, even though I'm a batshit person or a dog shit person, right?
Well,
Thanks.
you're in good company, James.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of, like Gutsick Gibbon, and Amy Newman. I mean, there's a lot of great people out there that are taking flack for nothing. You
right.
know? So you're in good company,
Fair.
Yeah, so it's almost like they accuse you of being the kind of a person that would go and tell a 4-year-old that their teddy bear is not really alive. Except they're not 4-year-olds; they're adults.
Right.
Well, they want to engage. They want to engage. They want to reach. They want to evangelize. They want to bring people to Jesus or Allah or whatever the religion may be. But their ways of going about it seem totally counterproductive because like with James there, you're trying to win over James there, and I think James would be open to it if there was a reasonable, logical reason to, hey, you know what, you got a good point there. Maybe I'll go to church, and I've said the same thing.
Sure.
But that's not what you hear. It's just not what you hear. And then when it delves into demons and hellfires and everything else, and I'm just like, this is your lollipop to get me to go to church, to hang out with you after, and then, have you see the videos going around lately with, the Christian nationalism thing, and they're going on and on about, they want theocracy as they're waving the flag, and it's just the again, how they can just twist religion to mean anything to, oh yeah, our country is in the Bible now, And it's
Right.
like,
Another crazy.
I'm just like, see this, and that's why I've been, so long anti-theism, is because of these things that people have said to me for decades, why does it bother you, Dave? And I'm like, and then when these things show up with the bug running around, and now with this, we're going to round people up, and I mean, they're talking about rounding up, political leaders, judges, anybody they don't like. They want to send them to prison.
Yeah.
And it's just, I can't engage with these people because it just hurts my head so bad, and all I'm going to say is something I'm going to regret. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at the time that my friend got upset with me, I was talking on my stream about the Southern Baptist Convention's global investigation into their pedophilia and their abuse of young women.
Right.
And then how that compares to the Catholic Church's history and what the Catholic Church did, right? And to my friend, that's an inappropriate topic for anyone at any time, right? Never mention it. Never talk about it. There is no appropriate venue for that. There is no appropriate words for that. Don't talk about it, right? Because if you do, then you're disrespecting the people who are part of those organizations by implication, right? Because they're endorsing, they're supporting, they're actively promoting. And if you're going to sit there and besmirch the reputation of these organizations, or even just the label, even, then by extension, you're disrespecting some of their friends and family.
Well, that was
right?
that whole Josh Dugar thing.
Yeah.
Well, they forgave him. So if we all think that he's, a no good, dirty, rotten, now we're bad because they forgave him, and they're even petitioning that he should come out of jail because they forgave him.
Oh my goodness!
Who forgave him?
The family.
His family
and the church, and the whatever peers they have that still hang out with them.
Well, there's forgiveness, and then there's like letting people off the hook. Those are two different things. Forgiveness is not letting somebody off the hook.
Yeah, no, they want him out of jail. Jesus forgive him, and all, et cetera, because so they don't even want, people that are, he caught red-handed. You know what I mean? There's no argument. He got caught red-handed. But yet they want to round up, teachers, librarians, judges, politicians, you and me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the United States of America because Jesus loves you. And it just gets harder and harder to have any discourse. And if you're trying to be nice, it's just going to backfire on you. And, James can understand that. You just can't win with some of these people.
Nope.
And then you're left wondering, well, what do we do to, return fire, so to speak? They're just, they've got loud voices. You want to talk about subscribers and stuff. These ones that are spewing this stuff, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 subs.
Yeah.
Videos are just reposted everywhere. And it's really scary. It's really scary.
Yeah, it is. It's very scary.
Something crazy is like a lot of there's a lot of people that would not let their very young children watch scary movies or movies with gore and murder and all that stuff in them. And there's a lot of those people would take those very same children, put them in church, and have them listen to hellfire and brimstone, Satan, demons. You're gonna burn in hell forever. I mean,
and demand Hollywood makes movies about that.
Yeah,
because it's supposedly family friendly.
PG movies, right? Yeah.
They want G movies from the Bible, and it's like, again, have you not read this book?
Yeah.
Right.
Jeez.
Oh gosh.
One of the things that always bugs me is when I say something from the Bible and they say, "Where does it say that?" And it's like, don't you know where it says that?
Right. I've seen people go out and interview people randomly on the street where they would tell them or make them think they're quoting from the Quran, and they'd say, "What do you think about these passages?" And then they'd cite them, and they go, "Man, that Quran is an evil book. Like, it's so obvious that no God would write such words." And then the interviewer tells them, "Actually, that's from the Bible." And then they go, "You're lying." And then they would show the person.
Yeah, that's the thing is when they don't believe you.
They put a slipcover on it. I've seen those. Yeah,
they're like, "Get behind me, Satan!" And I'm like, "Come on." It's whatever. But I ask these people, I'm like, look, notice how often the atheist or skeptical community doesn't talk or doesn't criticize Buddhism. It doesn't criticize Wicca. Doesn't criticize Native American indigenous spirituality with ancestor worship or spirit animals, or their the idea of the sky welcoming them or something like that. Like if those people came into our channel and challenged us about this, we would say, okay, we can have that discussion, and we would be logically critical, right? But we're not making streams or channels about that because those people, as a general rule, are not in our world causing problems for people, right? They're not organizing pedophile rings. They're not trying to infiltrate and hijack the government and turn America into a theocracy. They're not going around the world colonizing. They're not promoting hate for LGBT and atheists, right? So this is my point. I'm like, you guys need to understand that if you don't want your organizations getting pushback, then you need to go to the people in your churches and in your structures and tell them, quit being assholes, quit fucking with people's lives, and then nobody will have anything to say about it. Leave people alone. right? It's that damn simple. It is not complicated, and they just can't get that.
That was my comment to Matt Walsh today. People in glass houses, Matt.
Yeah.
Who's
Then you
Matt
get
Walsh?
people like
He talks about everybody but, you know.
yeah, everybody bought.
Mhm.
Everybody bought.
What is a
And I'm
Matt?
like,
What's a what?
A Matt Walsh. What is that?
He's just a
Oh,
conservative asshole.
it's a vile dumpster juice that leaves that foul stain and odor and stains your concrete and everything when the dump truck leaves. That's a Matt Walsh.
The reason I buy Ajax.
It doesn't come out. That's the problem. It just doesn't come out.
it just doesn't come out.
Yeah.
And let's use the blood of Jesus. It gets everything out. That and some OxyClean. So we've got Dog in the house, and we've also got Logan Fisher, Nerdy Rodent. Who else we got over here? Logan Fisher says Christianity is the only people he can criticize as a white guy. He's not allowed to criticize anybody else, so he's limited. Got to run with his options.
Yeah.
And you have to criticize a faction of Christianity slightly different than your own.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's what I tell them. I said, you don't realize as soon as the theists get in charge and they get rid of everybody they don't like, they start looking at each other.
Yeah.
And they say, you know what? I don't like this about you, and because it's they just don't like things about people, no matter what it is, and then they set on each other. And then I try to explain like to ladies like Rebecca and stuff, and it's like, do you not understand that women do not fare well in a theocracy? You know,
Yeah, right.
It's, where do women fare well in a theocracy? Why would you want that?
They don't.
Again, have you not read that book? You know what I mean? I can understand why certain males might embrace these religions because they're written for them. But it when women and minorities and stuff are even considering these or actually belong to these religions, it's again, it hurts my head. It's like, are you reading this book that's bad mouthing you? And you're just like, yeah, I agree with this.
Right.
You know, this book says I'm terrible.
Right. Yeah. But some of them want to be owned, right? Sweet dreams are made of these. As the Eurythmics got it right. So, but I'm like, I'm not here to kink shame, but quit telling me that I need to adopt your kink, right? Because that's crossing the line. This is a simple.
Well, it's classic. Be careful what you wish for, because you will get it.
Yeah, they don't get that either. If they get a theocracy, it won't be the one they have in mind. I tried to explain this to Otangelo before. You know, you think that just because everybody in that theocratic government invokes the word Jesus and opens the Bible, right, that everything's going to be sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops. It doesn't work that way. Look at history, right? Pretty soon there's going to be heresy trials and witch hunts and, you know, state-approved doctrines and all this other stuff, and it's going to get more and more aggressive and more authoritarian, right? And it's like,
and they're not going to go after anybody that's deserving of going to jail. No. They're going to go after the librarians.
Yeah, people in power, they're not interested in Jesus. They're interested in more power. And that's the thing that motivates theocratic governments is just power, using God as another form of exercising power over others.
So is it true that in Florida they send police officers into libraries to children's libraries to clean up books? I mean, did that really happen? I saw something on the news channels about it, and that wasn't.
Somebody Google that.
They try to pass so many things down there just to.
Yeah, they had a scrub
the right wingers.
Yeah, they had to scrub it of critical race theory and any mention of gay LGBTQ, and I guess some bookshelves were empty or something. There were empty bookshelves. I don't know if that came from the fake news liberal media and it was made up, or if that really happened. But if anything like that happened even once, that's fucking scary, man. Police in charge of libraries. What
I
does
saw
that?
the lineup give the press conference. All the Republicans were standing up there talking about all the things that are wrong with the country, and then that's that there's always things wrong. Let's fix it. And what are they passing? Are bills about libraries and children's books.
Yeah.
And, it's the old, what are we going to do? They're coming for your children, or what are we going to do about the children? Or, whatever you want to phrase the argument as, it always comes back to, oh, it's the children, the balloon shooting down.
Yeah.
All how many days they said, shoot it down, shoot it down, shoot it down. And right as they're watching it being shot down on the beach, they're interviewing somebody that said, oh, I've been saying all week, shoot it down, shoot it down. And then they, in the same breath, they say, now what are we going to tell the kids about this balloon being shot down?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I
There's
give
a
up.
balloon that was shot down.
This idea of protecting kids from ideas is basically coming. That is the very definition of coming for your children.
Yeah.
If you basically put them in a box and you don't give them the information that they need about the world, and then they turn 18, they turn 18 and all of a sudden we're going to dump all this information on them, or they're going to go to college and get it. And they're not.
Meanwhile, who has the doctrine called 4 to 14? Church.
Yeah.
It's a targeted doctrine, because if you don't get them between 4 and 14, you're not going to convince them.
Right.
It's like they want to groom their children.
Yeah, and then they love to use that groomer word, and it's like,
yeah, and
who
China,
else has 4 to 14 as a doctrine?
China sent a balloon over our country, so obviously they're trying to groom our children too.
The balloon thing just makes me laugh.
They should have sent a clown, over our country with the balloon.
Wait, somebody asked, don't they have satellites? I mean, why do they need a fucking balloon?
They don't need a satellite, Mike. You can send a balloon over and dangle some garbage from it, and cable news is going to go on, and they're going to tell you it's floating right over this top secret military base, and here's the address. And oh, look, now it's floating over this top secret air base that I never heard the name of until last week. This one Air Force base name I had never heard of. It's not one of the big ones. Apparently, it is kind of secretive, and they told everybody where it is.
So the media.
I'm seeing the Chinese are sitting over there watching cable news saying, oh, thank you. And it's address. Thank you very much. They didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So they launch basically a meaningless balloon with nothing in it, no transmitters, anything.
Right.
And the media goes ahead and spills the beans on where all the military.
Exactly. There's 44 missile silos in Montana. And it's like, I didn't know that. I know it now. And so do the Chinese. And so does everybody else in the world.
Right.
I mean, how many people knew there was 44 missile silos in Montana before last week? You ask somebody on the street, like, Jay Leno or something, they would say, I don't know. Everybody knows now.
Yeah. Good.
And exactly where they're at. They showed it right on the map. Yeah, that's where they're at right here.
I did see a map with military installations. And you're right, I never knew anything about those. Now I know.
and they broadcasted it 24/7. So I was just laughing. I'm like, yeah, that balloon could have had junk hanging from it, and they got more information from cable news.
Wow.
And people were giving me a hard time, and I'm like, it's national security, all this, and I'm like, I'm sorry, it's funny. I thought it was hysterical.
Yeah.
So I shared an image from that balloon if anybody wants to see it. Like something it captured while it was going over.
Oh. Let's see.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's some good military intelligence right there.
And to be honest, in this day and age, I mean, if you really want information, you hack it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the 50s or maybe even earlier with, hidden microphones in your shoe, like Get Smart or something. It's like, no, they're just going to hack it. If they want something, they're going to hack it. And it's already been all over the news how many times where the Chinese hacked, patents or whatever they were doing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you want it, I mean, just find yourself a good enough hacker and they'll get it for you.
Well, according to the experts, the religious are not just because they are religious. Well,
Experts, the
I mean,
religious are not.
if somebody believes something really, really crazy, like deer can talk and deer talk to you and deer are watching us. I saw one yesterday. He was just standing there. I'm pretty sure he was watching me, and they're watching me, and they can talk. And would I be crazy? Would I be considered crazy?
Right. So Sam Harris has a quote about that, right? Like religion
You
allows.
took too many mushrooms.
Or you took too many mushrooms. That could be it too.
Yeah, that could be. Maybe there was no deer. There was no deer. Deer. I walked out in the yard and there was this deer sitting on the hill and he was just perfectly still except his ears were like moving around like radar, like in circles, He's fucking checking things out. And like, I'm like, he's watching me. And he was. Yeah.
They're in the cemetery a lot when we take flowers to my mom's grave, and they're watching you. They're always watching you. You make one wrong move and off they go.
Yeah. Well, I made a lot of wrong moves, and he wouldn't move. There were dogs barking, and I think he was stuck between the coyotes and the dogs, and he saw me as the lesser threat of the three.
We got city deer. Maybe they're a little more skittish. Yeah. Every once in a while, I get one goes right through the neighborhood because we're between.
They're afraid of being
one
mugged.
Patch of woods is and another one in the metro parks. And every once in a while, we thought there was a big dog. My wife or my son or somebody was yelling, "There's this big dog out in the front yard." And on the security camera at night, it looked like a big dog. But when I looked out the door, that was a deer. It was out in my front yard eating my wife's flowers.
Oh, this carpet guy came in to sell us carpet or whatever, and he left. And then he come right back and rang the doorbell again. And he said, "Oh my God, when I walked in, I thought you had statues of deer in your yard. And then when I was walking out, they moved."
No, we have androids of deer droids.
They're
Deer
real.
droids.
I used to love when my brother would go hunting and he'd like trek back with his 4-wheeler like 20 miles into the woods, and then he'd hike another 2 miles, and he was like freezing his balls off up in a deer stand. And I would send him pictures of my deer eating bread like 3 feet from me in my backyard, like a whole herd of them, right? And I just did it to fuck with my little brother. It was excellent.
We have an abundance of them. They wanted to take some out, but the one community over here, they like it, and they said we don't care if they trample our nice yards and everything else. And so they let them roam free in the village down the street from me.
We had coyotes. You
got to slow down when you go through there because they're everywhere.
Yeah, we'd almost hit them during the day. We had a really big population of deer, and then the coyotes moved in and cleaned them out. And now we have a really big population of coyotes, and I think that's going to be more of a problem. And instead of eating your shrubs, they're going to be munching on your children. And it's going to happen sooner or later. It's like, okay, make a choice: your shrubs or your kids. What do you want eaten?
I didn't think they were such a big deal, but just a few miles from here, my wife's younger sister, it's kind of, not too far from here, but it's in the country, and they couldn't leave the little dog out in the evening because the coyotes would come and eat it. And I was like, wow, really? They're that close?
They'll take them right off.
Forget.
They'll take them right off your leash. I saw a video last week of a coyote stalking an older woman who was walking a dog, and that coyote was being extremely aggressive. And it was just like, what in the hell do you have? Why are you allowing that kind of a thing to walk around the city? And it's like, oh, hug the coyote. Well, coyote are invasive species. They came from southwestern United States, where they lived like 300-400 years ago, and they've slowly moved all the way into Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And do you know how they did it? They figured out how they travel. They travel on railroad tracks.
Oh, see, it wouldn't even help to build the coyote wall, then, would it? They're just gonna
No.
like ride right on the tracks.
Yeah,
Dang it.
Yeah, I never, I didn't know it was an issue, because I say I'm in the city, but yeah, they said, no, yeah, as soon as you step out. And then, a friend of mine up just over the line in Michigan, too. He said, yeah, running around everywhere. I was like, wow.
No, in Minneapolis, we have eagles snatching dogs right off people's leashes, dogs and cats. The eagle population has just really increased, and those suckers are big, and they're good at what they do.
Well, that's what happens when you say we're not allowed to shoot something anymore. It explodes.
Yeah,
Like
it just goes crazy.
I just saw a picture. I just saw a picture of an eagle carrying off somebody's cat.
Yep.
Yep.
That's why I have a fence on top of my fence. I have a horizontal fence ceiling, so that the owls and coyotes can't get my cats, and hawks, and eagles. So I had to put like a 360 fence around for my cats before I could let them out.
Wasn't the first Australopithecus skull we ever found as a in paleontology? Wasn't it carried off by a bird of some sort?
Was it?
I think so. If memory serves, there was that. It was like a boy skull, Australopithecine skull, and it had talon marks in it.
Wow.
And so they figure it got carried off or what have you, and dropped.
Yeah.
Right. So I think this explains the empty tomb. I mean, now that we're talking about
it. A space eagle took it.
Yeah, space eagle took it.
There you go.
Those big birds from Lord of the Rings.
Jewish space eagle.
Jewish space eagles.
But I'm just thinking, boy, it's been a long time, but we still worry about birds in the sky.
Mine is the herons, because when they migrate, they like to stop for a snack in people's fish ponds. So people like me that have fish ponds, we know like herons. When you go to the pond pages, that's the number one enemy. Look what's outside today. Oh no. And it's a picture of a heron.
Oh my God.
I tell people, it's not so bad when you have goldfish, but when you step up to koi, you start spending hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for a fish, just for a bird to have lunch. Yeah, you start getting concerned.
Right. And Benghazi, you're right. Most people think I'm a dog at a glance, but I'm like, have a few more drinks and then get back with me. Right? I get handsomer later.
Yeah. Everybody does.
That's
Everybody does. Last call.
Last call. I don't even bother walking into the bar until like 1:45 or something. You're wasting your time until then.
Yeah, yep. If that's what you're looking
Stupid
for.
Whore Energy has a link. I'm afraid of where it might take me.
Well, I'm going to check it out and very carefully check it out. Okay, I've got all my blockers in place. I got security. Oh, it's a nice link.
Aww.
Okay, we got to play that link. Hang on a second. Let's see.
That link is actually quite nice.
It is.
Thank you, Stupid Whore Energy. You got any more? I probably shouldn't have asked that.
Sounded like Tiny Tim.
Yeah. Tiny Tim used to. He was from Minnetonka, Minnesota, which is just a few miles away, and he would play and sing at Spooky World, which is a Halloween festival every year.
Oh, I thought that was where like Spooky Bed Hair lives.
The year I went to see him, he had laryngitis. God damn it. Anyway, if you could imagine, Tiny Tim. my God. Oh my God. That's huge. Yeah.
Nice.
Wonderful. Thank you. That was cool.
That was very awesome.
Why was it, going up to her ear? Does it know? I mean,
It knows.
could it know that the ear was the place where we hear things? I don't know.
I think it does. Oh, I read a recent article about how crows are self-aware, like literally self-aware. And I just it the more I read about the advancements in studying animals, the more I realize that they're even the ones we don't think of as people are people.
Yeah.
And that's just really been shifting my paradigm a lot over the past year or so.
Well, my cats definitely understand my eyes and where I look and what I'm looking at and whether I'm looking at them, because I've tested it over and over again. And if I look, well, head movements and everything, but they definitely look at my eyes and my face to see what's going on. So they're very much into my face and they recognize it. It isn't like they recognize my whole person. It's definitely my eyes and everything.
I had a pair of labs, and when the one passed away, his brother was looking at him, and he would look up at me, and he would look back at him.
Yeah.
He would look up at me like he needed an answer,
Yeah.
like, why isn't my brother getting up and playing? It wasn't like a smell thing. It was like a look thing. And he kept looking back at me and looking down, and you got to wonder,
One of my St. Bernards got killed on the highway, and I brought him back, drove him back. He was a 200-pounder, and laid him in the yard. And the other St. Bernard, Midas, the one that I had talked about putting down the other day, he went and he kept pulling at him, pulling him around the yard, trying to get him up, get him to move.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen. And until we get, burying a 200-pound dog is, you can't do it in 20 minutes, so it took me a while.
It's like burying a person, because lots and lots of people are about 200 pounds. And
that was Chewy. He got hit by a semi. If he got hit by a car, that car would have been in the ditch alongside him, and hit and run by a semi.
Every time I see some sort of nature documentary featuring any particular species, especially primates, there's always a segment in there where they say expanding towns, or making room for factories, or new highways being implemented has really affected the population and the sustainability of this particular critter. And I wondered, I wish they had competitions, like in college, like they do with engineers and their robots and things like that, to design towns and systems, that would reduce the loss of animal population.
Yeah, they put in. I saw a video recently where they put in an animal way underneath a highway.
Yeah, something like that.
Because so many animals were getting hit on the highway that they put in. They just put in a bridge underneath, and the animals, hey, cool, I'm going to use that instead. Safer.
Yeah. You have to worry about predators. Why worry about a Jeep running you down or something?
Yeah.
Or I know we don't have a problem with underpopulation of deer, but still, you don't want to kill a deer and possibly kill yourself by hitting one on the highway. But it just seems like it's smarter to make animal friendly or coexistence friendly, infrastructure. You have to think about that for train, railroads, and as well as freeways and things like that.
So we don't have to play that whole video, but it's what we're talking about, so I thought I'd share that with you. 40% of animals in the U.S. currently at risk of extinction, and that doesn't include the massive amount that we've already lost in the last 40 years.
Yeah. That's so sad.
Yeah.
And yet we got feral hogs running around everywhere, and we can't do anything about them.
Yeah. Yeah, those suckers are dangerous, aren't they?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
let's be nice. So, just they probably wrote you a ticket at some point, right? You're still mad about it.
Those Canadians, they're always one-upping us.
Feral hog is bacon, man. Bacon. You
Yeah.
mean you're not allowed to kill them?
Well, they have a lot. You go on YouTube and they've got 50 different pages of the people trapping them. They've just set the traps, and the guy's sitting at the baseball game watching his son play ball. And when he gets enough of them under the cage, he hits that button on his phone and it drops down.
Ooh.
He cruises back out the next day and he puts them down. The only thing is the small ones, I guess, the butchers, a lot of them don't want anything to do with because it's too much work for the money, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the small ones, you either got to find somebody that'll butcher them themselves, or they just end up as compost. But some of the bigger ones, yeah, he's dropping them off to people he knows that need, a freezer full of meat, dropping them off at the, whatever you call them, kitchen for the poor or whatever you call it. So it some of it does go to good use, but yeah, there's just so many. And I understand it's a problem, but at the same time, we managed to wipe out other things quite easily,
Yeah.
And it just seems like this one is quite easy, especially in a country where, so many people got guns, and these things are just running crazy everywhere. And it's just, again, it's like you got to scratch your head. It's like, why are we taking out this poor little frog or salamander or whatever? Ain't bothering nobody. But let the hogs trash the farm fields and everything,
Well, the feral hogs are pretty robust, and I don't know what kind of diseases they get, but they can eat just about anything.
They're tough.
They're tough. They're social, I think. So I think they have a lot more things going for them than like just your individual cluster of frogs or whatever. Frogs are more sensitive to the environment and things like that.
And they don't have the serious domestication either, because they said in just like one generation, they're right back to, wild hog.
Yeah.
They grow the tusks and the fur and everything else.
And if you don't hit them right, the bullet will bounce right off their heads. I've seen that with pigs.
Ooh.
Yeah, they like a 22 can deflect right off their skull. It's kind of amazing.
Well, yeah, they've got that big, broad skull like that, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like a big shield,
Yeah.
Dirty Ronan says they're turning the hogs gay, but if in a way, you kind of wish that were true, because then they wouldn't be able to reproduce as much.
Yep.
I mean, if they love each other and they want to adopt, that's fine. But
nope, not just the frogs; it's the hogs and the dogs and
the gay is spreading.
Alex Jones will have a stroke.
Yeah, right. We should hope.
We should be so lucky.
Yep. Cool. 4 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Yeah, bullshit.
You're in the wrong time zone.
5 o'clock.
The one. Oh, do they call it your time zone the Central Time Zone? No, they don't.
Well, James is in nowhere land, aren't you? You don't have time zone there, do you?
So I'm in a part of Indiana where it's different from the rest of the state. We do time zones differently, so I never know what time it is. What do I know? But that's okay, because at PDSD all my days just blur together. So people ask me how my weekend was, and I'm like, wait, there was another weekend I missed? That happened? Like whatever. Doesn't matter. So I'm supposed to stream today. I'm supposed to do a counter apologetic one a day for the week, and then never again. And I have no topic. I have no topic picked out. So if there's anything that anybody here in chat is currently angry about, let me know when I'll stream about it.
It's these politicians with the nationalism talk that's really got my craw lately. It's scary. These are people in office talking like this, or people that were in office. Flynn, he was a general, right? General Flynn.
Yeah, there was a general.
Oh my! He He was like the head of national security, whatever,
Joint
under Obama
Chiefs
or something. Yeah, and you hear him now, and it's like, did he hit his head, or was it always like that? And then you're like, oh no, if he was always like that, and supposedly he told Russia, don't worry about the sanctions because Trump will drop them. And he's talking to the Russians behind the scenes and everything. And I'm like, it just gets scary that it's all the religious thing. It's not a political thing. It's they want this, they're the ones that are always saying the Illuminati and the one world government. No, they're coming to get you and they're running everything. And it's like, that's exactly what they want. That's exactly what they want. And they're putting them in everywhere. They're putting them in on school boards, and they're just sticking them everywhere. And then there they go. They've got the votes. Oh, nope. There goes those books. There goes that curriculum, on down the line.
Something horrible happened in 2016 that just tipped us on a slope that may be the most dangerous slope we've ever been on. And I don't know what the hell happened exactly, and I don't know why it happened, because the economy was doing okay. I mean, everything was fucking okay, right? We just crawled out of a hole, with electing Obama, and I don't know what happened to us. That this crazy shit is now a possibility. They're making laws about what you can put in children's books and shit like that.
Oh, and the ladies can't have short sleeves. Did you see that, Bill?
Yeah.
In
No.
the Midwest somewhere, or whatever it was. What? Oh yeah, they wanted the women to dress respectable as state. This isn't federal; it's state Congress people. And yeah, they want they want to start putting them in long sleeves, and next put them in a veil and.
Missouri House adopts new dress code for women requiring covering of arms. What the fuck?
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You should dress modestly. Who does that sound like? And then who decides what is modestly?
Sharia law, morality, please. That's who that sounds like.
What the hell? No, this can't be real. Fake news.
Yeah, it is. It's all these little things going on everywhere, Mike. It is.
Wow.
It is scary. These people, what they're saying. It is.
Holy shit.
I have to turn it off because I start to get concerned. I hear a couple of them, and it's just Michelle Bachmann. She was a senator, congresswoman, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stuff she says now. Oh yeah, it's just you can't get any more far right religious cult. Religious law. Bring it on. God's wrath. Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's horrible.
And it's, geez.
There it is.
And don't forget all those ones that were whispering in Trump's ear that Paula White, that was his spiritual advisor. She speaks in tongues.
Oh, can you imagine this bill was met with opposition from the Democrats? Why wasn't it met with opposition from the Republicans?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Or at least the female Republicans, if there are any.
Well, they know their place.
I saw one of the females speaking, but I don't remember what party she was from. But she was pretty much.
Do you know what it feels like?
Where does it stop?
Do you know what it feels like to have a bunch of men in this room looking at your top, trying to decide whether it's appropriate or not?
Right.
Yeah, Ashley On said on the state's House floor, according to Heartland Signal, before going on to criticize American.
And are you going to have one of those, body scans where the graph shows up on the screen, and it's got millimeters, and it's like, it's not far enough from the wrist or the elbow. How are they going to walk around with, lasers and tape measures and come here,
Right. Next thing they'll be telling me I can't wear this cod piece at Walmart. Like
Exactly.
we don't want to have that discussion.
More closely to mirror the men's dress code. So what the fuck? I don't know. Anyway, oh my God.
Leo says, this is how the right has reacted at every point of major social progress in history. Why are we acting like this is new? They did this with the Jews in the 30s, blacks in the 50s, gays in the 80s.
But there's so many things wrong with the country we have to deal with. So let's not do any of that, and let's pass a bill about how long your sleeves have to be.
This is the kind of stuff that fascists focus on. This is all coming from a fascist, authoritarian, mindset. Got to control the people. Got to get rid of the freaks. Got to find people to turn your anger to and to scapegoat for what's wrong in this country, rather than actually dealing with the things that are wrong in the country.
Okay, I want to push back a little bit on what Leo said. In the 50s and the 60s, there was a lot of, amongst the average American, there was a lot of pushback against any of these major changes, right? But what you didn't hear is you didn't hear politicians promoting crazy bullshit, because politicians would have been afraid to say anything like this or do anything like that.
Because it used to cost you your career.
I think it was different. Yeah. They couldn't come out against, blatantly come out against freedom or what the country stood for. And for some reason, I think that may have changed. So I think it is getting worse since 2016.
There's a guy that was talking, basically round up everybody they don't like, gay, trans. He's worried about the people who are running the country are doing drag queen story hour, because I guess there's millions of them out there.
Millions.
Yeah, Jesse Dallimore covered it. He's subbing for David Pacman. He covered the guy yesterday, I think, if you want to look it up. Yeah, it's just scary stuff. Round them up, put them in camps. I mean,
wow.
And you don't want to use Godwin's law, but I mean, sometimes it applies.
Yeah,
I think it usually applies. I mean, that's why it's called the law, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Godwin's law.
That's what they're saying. Put these people in camps. Put the judges, put the politicians, put gay people, trans people, drag queen story hour people, librarians, teachers. They're making all the same enemies, and then they're having book burnings too.
Wow.
But about socialism and communism and Sharia law and all. That's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you.
Well, there's socialism and communism in the Bible, so let's burn that next. And if you really want to have that discussion.
But
so it sounded like James,
if it's some crazy pastor in a little cult place, and the Westboro type, with their little family thing, and stuff. But this stuff is coming out of people who are holding public office. They're saying this stuff.
Wow.
James, it sounded like Melody Joy may have had a topic for you. I don't know.
Oh.
Wanted your email address. I don't know.
Yeah, I responded through Facebook.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I don't know if they meant that for a topic for me to talk about, or if it's just a part of a conversation we were having about other. I'll have to clarify that with them. I don't want to accidentally talk about something that was supposed to be private, so I'll have to ask them. But yeah, I mean, the nationalism thing is definitely a great topic. I just need to be more awake to have that one. It's an engaging topic that I really need to be really clear-headed about. So that probably won't be tonight's topic, but it may be tomorrow or the next day. So I'm still open to ideas. Like if anybody watched a video lately and would like to hear a response to part of it, or has been dealing with some kind of stuff in their family.
I've had some, recently that I was going to address. Let me think for a while. This, by the way, I got a picture of the cordyceps mushroom that is made famous by The Last of Us, the series. That's a cordyceps. Mm-hmm. Ain't it pretty? That's going to be
like cool. A bunch of worms hanging out.
It is very.
They look like Nerf worms.
Right.
Very,
Oh,
very,
I
very. Oh, God.
So Leo says there was no socialism or communism in the Bible, given those ideas. The ideals didn't exist yet. So, but see, here's the thing: every single time somebody recommends that there be some kind of social support network, right, that isn't based on capitalism, they say Marxism, socialism, communism, right? That everything within a very wide domain of ideas that isn't free market capitalism, that's socialism, right? Every damn time. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter if they didn't have words like socialism and communism back in the Bible era. There is extensive discussion in the New Testament, for example, about everybody selling off everything they own, pooling those resources in a religious community, sharing them amongst each other, not working for a living anymore, right? And so yeah, I mean, if we propose something like that here in America, even in isolated areas, they wouldn't hesitate to call that socialism and communism. So, and as far as the rest of it goes, I don't know. It depends on how you define the words, because technically, um, if you think about the hunter-gatherer species, that we could think of that as the roots of communal living, for example, of communism.
The remember
The
too that the Old Testament provided a social program of requiring, through the Mosaic Law, farmers not to harvest out the corners of their fields so that they could leave, basically some overgrowth of crop in the corners for poor people to come and harvest whatever crop, wheat or whatever they were growing, so that they could have some food. So there was even a social program legislated in the Old Testament. So that's something to think about too.
Jesus too. Jesus said, if
Yeah.
you did not visit me when I needed you, when I was in jail, when I was sick, when I was hungry, I never knew you. Depart from me.
But then the apologetic response to me saying something like that would be, well, that's Old Testament, so it's kind of hard to win with religious types because they can just make things up.
Yeah, like what you mentioned about hunter-gatherer societies, I don't think the idea had to exist because it was how they lived. The entire group basically went out and shared and hunted together and came up with a whole, right?
Sure.
That's
So
a metaphor
it's
for the Garden of Eden. Once you settle down, you can't go back.
Yeah.
Sure. So my only point was that when they talk about Marxism, socialism, communism, things like that, again, it's this big wide range of anything that isn't competitive free market capitalism, where you either rise to the top or you sink or you swim, right? You die or you prove your worth, right? And I got mine, you get yours, competitive bullshit, right? Like overly, like law of the jungle stuff. If it doesn't comport to that ideal, they say, oh, that's communism, socialism, right? They can't. It's anything that's outside of that circle to them, right? I'm not talking about what it means to Wiki. I'm not talking about what it means to scholars. I'm not talking about what it means to me or you, right? This is a completely different discussion. I just want to clarify that.
Looks like Rebecca's talking about origins. I just got a notification.
Ooh, origin. Oh no, she's going to talk about evolution. That.
Well,
fool.
yeah, being wrong is their habit. I grant you that. Yeah.
Goddamn fool is going to talk about evolution like she knows so much more than all the scientists. Rebecca. And where does Rebecca get her information? From Cell Cordova. No one else. And all the creationists bullshit.
She started out with Ken Ham because she repeats Ken Ham stuff. I catch it. You can usually catch if they're in a Ken Ham or a Hovind camp by the words they use. And I've heard her say molecules to man, and that's Ken Ham.
Yeah, ants to antelopes is what she gave me the other day. And when I pushed back on it, she called me. She said, "You're thinking like a creationist. Of course there are ants and antelopes. And just because, or amoebas to antelopes. Just because there are amoebas today, but she was talking about evolution from amoebas to antelopes. And it's like, okay, right away when you say something like that, you're not being rational. You're not talking rationally when you think. when you frame it in those terms.
And I try to say that people like Rebecca and Sal and SFT and Donnie Deals and all the rest, they I forgot where I was going with it.
Oh.
What were we just talking about?
Yeah, all you have to do is list those people's names, and we know where you're going. We know what they are. About examining origins. 5 minutes ago, she did a real short thing, 44 seconds. Okay,
it's just a shorty.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and play it. Let's see what she's got to say. James, stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking move. I know. Evolution. Don't you dare.
Evil.
Evolution. Yeah, James thinks evolution. Yeah, because it bores him. No.
Yeah.
No other reason.
Oh, I know what I was going to say real quick. The head of the snake. That's what I was going to say. It's like, yeah, all these small timers can easily be replaced because they're repeating AIG, ICR, Discovery Institute, and the Banana Man, and down the lines to the Hovens, and down the lines to what's the guy down in Texas that has his little museum, Carl Baugh, all down the line and stuff through them. They're going to immediately replace the Sals and the SFTs and everybody because they're the ones putting out all this garbage to begin with.
Mm.
So
it has to be addressed that, the organizations are the ones that we have to direct more attention to, because again, you can, oh, okay, Rebecca's convinced and she's gone. And 2, 3, 4 more are going to replace her that just turned on YouTube and found Ken Ham.
Yeah. So she's changing her channel name. That's what this is about too. Let's hear what she has to say for 44 seconds.
Did the universe start with a big bang? Did life develop through natural processes? Did we all evolve from a common ancestor? Is there scientific evidence that we were intelligently designed? These are the topics we're going to be discussing on Examining Origins. So join me for a scientific look at the support for and against the origin stories that are commonly believed.
She doesn't even understand scientific method. I know.
No.
She thinks it has something to do with metaphysics and worldview.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh boy. Oh no. Another source of aggravation for me. Oh my God. They're going to drive me to drink. These goddamn creationists.
Well, I think you drove Jesus to drink.
Where's Leo's in the chat? Hey, Leo, is the debate on for against Rebecca and Sal with you and who is it? Is it Grayson? Supposed to be the end of the month. Rebecca and Sal are going to debate the Big Bang.
So Bree is really close to 1,000 followers. Somebody, and you know what, guys? If anybody out there hasn't subbed to me, I keep having 595. I want to get to 666, and then I want to hold it there. So please get me another 60 some subscribers so I can get that 666. I need that. I need that in my life.
I gave Bree my Dave M too. So
1,000 followers we need, and I think Bree's like less than 100 away from that. So anyway,
yeah, she's gonna have an event about it, isn't she? She's talking about something.
Yeah, maybe
for hitting 1,000.
Here you go. Hashtag get speed to 666, and then leave me there. I mean, I've been dying in this 590 to 600 range for the last 3 months. Like, come on, if we're going to stop somewhere, let's stop at 666. People.
Yeah, Bree's got a recruitment drive at Skeptic Haven. Is it tonight? No,
okay,
tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what it is. Yep. Thanks, James.
Yep.
I knew I heard something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my. So someday we should talk about evolution in broad terms, about why people like me believe in evolution. And I don't believe in evolution because of the scientific consensus, though I would if I were what I considered a layman. I believe in it for the same reason all those scientists do, and the scientists don't believe in it because all of them believe in it. They believe in it each because they have personally investigated the evidence for evolution. And the evidence is so fucking overwhelming. And the reason it's overwhelming is because there are millions and millions of bits of it. And they all basically point in the same direction. And there's plausibility. Like if you look at how something happened, unless you have a time machine, you can't go back and see how it happened. But you can investigate the natural processes for each tiny individual little fragment of a step. And if you can find no flaw with those natural processes, if you find mechanisms that can go from basically origins to life, and if you've tested all those mechanisms, then you know that it can happen, and that's a good reason to believe that it did happen. Particularly if you eliminate the bullshit probability, back of the envelope probability calculations that creationists love, because that's bullshit.
Well, they're setting up a boogeyman. They're setting up evolution as this one thing in science, and that it's bad, leaving out that it intersects with other fields. And then at the same time, they're pointing that out. They don't like geology. They don't like astronomy. They don't like physics. They don't like chemistry. They don't like any of the other fields either. So it's not just the biology parts they don't like. And then they'll say, well, no, we accept the biology parts, just not some of these biology parts. And it's like, what it's a complete dismissal. And then they turn around and say, no, it's not. It's like, yes, it is. You're dismissing every field of science.
Yeah, there's about 100,000 videos out there of geologists at a particular rock formation. And these videos tell you the entire story of how that rock formation happened over hundreds of millions or even billions of years. And I watched, many of them. And they want to hand wave that away as, oh, you just sit there and think, oh, the flood moved this over here and this hardened. And then another wash of water came from the west, and then one came from the east. And then this happened, and all this plant life rapidly deposited and shrunk into coal. And they want to hand wave all of that geology away. And like, you don't need to go to evolution. Just go to fucking geology to know that the earth is old. I mean, they figured out for almost every area of the earth how these things came to be. And Rebecca will say, oh, well, it's just stories. Well, the stories are solid. I mean, the stories make sense. Everything's
It's not just stories, it's data. It's
well, in Bloomington here, we have this big story about how the Mall of America came to exist. And it involves bulldozers and dump trucks and a whole bunch of, bricklayers and all that stuff. It's just a story. I mean, God, there's no reason to believe that God didn't create the Mall of America like 5 years ago, right?
When it gets warm out, I have plans to make a video. I'm going to try to bend mud.
Oh yeah, bend mud.
We're gonna play scientist. I've got tubs, I've got old fish tanks and everything out in the garage.
Bend the mud.
As soon as it's warm enough to play in the hose, I'm gonna try and bend mud, because they say those bent layers are bent mud. So I'm gonna get some different dirt and everything, and we'll mix up some mud, and I'm gonna bend it, and we're gonna see what happens.
Well, then after you bend it, I want you to turn it into sandstone, and then I want you to turn it into a metamorphic rock after that.
Yep.
And then I want you to inject some volcanic rock in that and get us some veins, and then I want to see you create quartz veins, because you should be able to drip water through there and create quartz veins in just a couple of years, right? So we should see some big quartz crystals and igneous rock veins and all that. I want to see all that. So don't just bend the mud.
and you need
Oh,
tree
yeah,
roots
yeah.
and animal burrows
Oh yeah.
and fossils. You got to quick make some. Maybe if I put it in the microwave or something, maybe it'll quick make a fossil. Or isn't that one of the stories they say that if you just
put it in your yard and drive the car over a couple times, maybe it'll turn into a metamorphic rock. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
But I'm serious though. I'm gonna make a video about bending mud, and we're gonna see how it works out. So,
hey,
when it
Speed.
gets warm out, look forward to a bending mud video.
Hunter Biden's laptop wants to come on and tell us about Bree's event.
Yeah,
Yes.
Just at the almost the same moment he asked me to drop the link for him, I did. I dropped it.
Oh, okay.
So it's there. So thank you for reminding us, Jay.
Okay. Yeah, like for geologic formations that I've stood in front of in Minnesota, I can't imagine how a fucking flood, no matter how many tsunamis there were, no matter how many times God cracked the earth open and shot fountains up, I can't imagine how those happened. And I really can't imagine how he got those iron ore deposits to form in a flood. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
If they would like pick a layer and say that this is the flood layer, you know what I mean, and try to make an argument for it.
Yeah.
But they're saying the entire geologic column was just a big tidal wave mess of mud and everything died.
Yeah, one tidal wave after another. They say, like in one video that AIG did, they said the tsunamis were like 700 foot tall, and they came across, the western United States and did this and did that
and bent mud.
I
still don't understand when did the mud bend?
I don't know what the mud bent. Yeah,
we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
We'll find out this time.
Well, the tsunami that hit the coast of North America or whatever, then actually bent the crust of the earth when it hit. It was such a powerful wave.
Yeah.
With a lot of heat and pressure.
Yeah.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
yes.
Jay.
Thanks so much for having me on. I didn't really come to do anything other than to just promote the whole Bree thing. So I didn't know about it. Stephanie Helms just let me know about it and gather, but it's starting in like 30 minutes. It's not tomorrow. It's actually.
Do you have a link?
5 p.m. Yeah, I do actually. I put a link in Gather. I'll drop a link on you right now. So yeah, it starts in about 30 minutes, and the idea is to help Bree get to over 1,000 subscribers. And so I'm gonna here. Do you want the link to the stream that they're doing?
Yes.
Okay, I can put it in the private chat. I think you might have to copy it into the YouTube chat.
Okay. I'll put it in. Let's see. I'll put it here in YouTube chat, and I will put it in my description.
Yeah, and then the goal is it's gonna be, apparently they're trying to get Bree to 1,000 subs, so it's gonna feature Aaron Ra, Neil 604,
Nice.
Mikey, Famine, Secular Rarity, Ethan Michael, Math Pig, Student Dr. Ben, Uncle Beck, Dr. Josh Bowen, Oz, Jenna, Apostasy, Stephanie Helms, and Sunny Shell from Skeptic Haven.
I need to make a fresh cup of tea then.
Yeah. And just so people know, we'll be in the Gather Cafe watching so that we can have our own little behind the scenes chat and discussion of what's going on. So come link up with us and Gather if you guys want to hang out and watch along with us, and I'm sure we'll be in the chat as well. But yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I won't keep you guys. I know you guys were having a great discussion. We were enjoying it, but I just wanted the opportunity to let people know what's going on if they want to support that stream today.
Right, and I'm going to put Brainbug's link out here too for the channel. Let's see, we are at 872 subscribers, so we got about 125.
Yeah. So, Mike, thanks for having me on. Appreciate you, and I'm sure we'll chat soon, man.
And Jay, very soon you have to help me to get to 666 subscribers.
I'm with it. I'm happy to help. Happy to do everything I can.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mike. I'll see you later.
Okay.
All right, bye, guys.
Yep. So anyway, half an hour. So I think we're going to end this and get ready to run over there and give them some support. We've got 11 waiting so far. So anyway, before we end, I guess one of the things that I want to talk about is emotional health and how everybody is. And when somebody's not emotionally healthy, reach out to me because I would like to talk about that, because there have been so many times in the past years that I have been not emotionally healthy, and I'm getting there. I'm getting there in bizarre ways. And anyway, it's just something I like to talk about. And I think it has to do with that default mode network. The thing about our brains bugging us, and we need to stop taking shit from our brains. God damn it. I mean, they're our brains. They're supposed to be serving us, right? Our brains are not supposed to be giving us shit. And when you feel lonely or depressed or emotionally unhealthy, your brain is giving you shit. It's not doing its job.
Siddhartha had to battle through his demons too, Mike.
Yeah, I know. It's just like one demon after another. My God. Anyway, so I don't know. It's always a good topic, and anybody who ever wants to talk about that with me, just reach out. So.
Oh, Stupid Whore Energy has a good comment here.
Yeah, no, I was gonna. Okay, you got it? No.
I thought I had it, but then it went away.
I got it. No, I don't.
No, that's not the one. That's not the one.
It keeps moving. It keeps moving.
All right, you're not driving the bus, Mike. Your brain is only letting you think you are.
Yeah, bullshit. I'm gonna drive this fucking bus. Maybe that's what it's about. This whole mystical journey. It's about us learning how to drive the fucking bus without thinking about it.
The problem is the loose nut behind the wheel.
With a boom. I wish I had a snare drum.
Yeah.
I had a neighbor lady, and she was quite a neighbor lady, and she went to her mechanic, and I guess the mechanic was just sick and tired of her, and he told her what was wrong with her car was the loose nut behind the wheel. And her and her boyfriend were out there looking up under the dash.
Oh no.
And they actually asked me, because I used to work on cars, and it's like, and as soon as they said it, it was all I could do not to laugh. And I was like, oh yeah, it sounds like you've got a linkage problem there. And I went in the house and laughed my ass off as I watched him out there in the driveway looking for the loose nut behind the wheel. At least he didn't sell her muffler bearings.
Yeah.
Have you ever bought muffler bearings?
No, but I think I'm gonna go look for some right now. Because my muffler hasn't been greased for a long time.
Relatable.
Grease them jokes about those garages in the middle of nowhere, and you roll in and they say, oh yeah, you need yourself a set of muffler bearings.
Yeah.
Fix you right up.
Yeah. Oh, what the fuck was it? Oh God. Oh no. There was a story from my youth. A drunken trip to see a rock band, and I was so drunk by the time it was like the only famous rock band that ever came to Evelyn, Minnesota. And I was so drunk by the time I got there that I was sitting there trying to okay, focus. I know there's a band up there. It's just I can't see it because it keeps moving around, and it's like the Gladiator. I think our Gladiator broke on our Corvair, my mom's 62 Corvair. I drove it over a bunch of ore dump rocks and broke the Gladiator, and we had to walk to the concert. What a story. Guy crawls into the Corvair and says, yep, it's the Gladiator. And the girl said, oh no, what are we going to do without one of those? Fuck. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't remember what concert it was, but I remember there was one. My brother never made it into the concert. He was so polluted, he never got out of the back seat.
I got to the
check you after the show, man.
But I clearly remember trying over and over again to focus and just see the band, because I wanted to, I wanted to at least hear one song that they played on the radio, from this band. And I couldn't fucking see them. I was so drunk. I mean, I was the driver.
Wow.
Well, country roads, fortunately. I don't know. Back in the day.
Well, I saw a lot of concerts in my youth, and I'm glad I did, because the older I got, the harder it was to go to them. And the last one I went to, I was feeling like a narc. So
Well, I'll still break into a concert whenever the hell I want. The hell with those kids. So, and I'll probably. I don't think I'm up for the mosh pit anymore, though. I think I'm going to stay.
well, it's those things though. You're walking around and you're still 17 years old, and you're like, man, I'm the one that we were looking at going, there's the narc.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For you younger people, that means it was an undercover cop looking for people that were
Yeah.
smoking a joint.
I
Because
guess.
they used to actually do something about that. I know.
Good luck finding.
Doesn't happen anymore, but they
Mm-mm.
used to.
Yeah,
They used to
good-
worry
good-
about that one joint. They would put out full forces of their
Yeah.
police department to get one joint at a concert.
Good luck finding a joint in a modern concert, right? I mean, God, how would you ever find one?
Everybody, they're all vaping.
Yeah. Fuck. Anyway. Okay, guys, let's shoot it ahead.
All right, good talking to everybody.
Okay,
All right,
thank you. Thank you for coming, Dave and James and Scott.
Bye, everybody.
Okay.
See
how
ya.
do- How do I get out of here? Oh, goodbye.
You hit some button.
Goodbye, cool world.